Hey, Jules Blessed Vegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. So people, welcome. We've been doing a happiness challenge. If you haven't joined us, don't worry, you're right on time to give yourself happiness and spread happiness. So bear with me for a moment because I have a great talk on abstinence. But for our happiness challenge, we have done day 11, which was today. And again, it doesn't matter what month it is, what day it is, just grab some happiness and spread the wealth, right? And today was be generous, feed someone with food, love, or kindness today. And I donated food at church, which I pray they got. I literally had to drop it off and just hope someone found it by God's grace, I'm sure. I tried to be very kind, but the person I was being kind to was not receptive because they were in a really bad place. So peace be with them, but I was kind for sure. And I was definitely loving in my responses to people. So yay for me. And I hope you're with me on that. For tomorrow, because I always stay a day ahead, it's buy an extra item and donate it to that local food bank. Now, I just did that at church today, not a problem. I don't even know if I'll be at a store tomorrow. So don't trip out if the objective isn't something you can actually act on. Because that's okay. You can just be kind. You can just be joyful. You can just smile. I can't tell you the number of times in my life where just smiling has eased someone's life. And they've actually said, oh my gosh, thanks, you're the only person who smiled at me today. Or thank you so much for your smile. I mean, they've actually said that, which I just see as God. But you may not be able to do this literally tomorrow. But when you're shopping, if they literally have something, that's a lot of literallys. If you don't know what literally means, it means actually for real. If they have something 2 for 1, and you're like, I don't even need to, get that extra one. And when you can, donate it. It certainly doesn't have to be tomorrow. And I do that all the time. Whenever I see a homeless person or whatever I have, even if it's my lunch kit, I'll empty it if it's something they can eat. So anyway, consider that as your kindness. That'd be great. So we are continuing with Strong Abstinence, which is actually the title of the article. Well, it's not an article. It's actually an abstinence checklist. Forgive me, I know I pulled it up. Here it is. Okay. It's actually an abstinence checkoff list through Overeaters Anonymous. And it's just a good one anyway. And again, you get to decide what you're abstaining from. I mean, it could be alcohol, it could be pills, it could be sex, it could be, obsessive behaviors for you. It could be gambling, and it could certainly be food. Which I'm so happy that that's kind of like my last nemesis at this point. But the best thing always is to replace one behavior with another. It's really sad because there's a person in my life right now who's just sort of going for broke. They need a change, and they're being really extreme, and that's recommended. Some people just recommend that you don't adjust in the behavior. You just go cold turkey. The bummer is they don't have the tools in place to support them with that act. So they're just super angry. It's like a dry drunk. They're just super mad right now. And I'm just trying to give them the space, to go through that, because I do know it is a good choice for them. They're already diabetic. They need to get off the sugar. They know that the things they're doing isn't working for them. They don't want to hear it from me. And maybe they're kind of angry at me because I'm living a better way right now. I am abstaining from salt, oil, sugar, the old SOS. Maybe because in time now they felt a need to change, they're resenting me for it. And that's okay. I'm sorry for the reaction to me, but it's okay. So I appreciate this checklist in general because I was seriously off my game and I was up to no good, and I realized that I wasn't using my tools. I wasn't writing in my journal. I wasn't doing any outreach calls. I was very much isolating and eating food that didn't serve me. Not all the time, but too often. So I'm so happy. This has been the 12 days of abstinence, like the 12 days of Christmas. Yesterday I was in my car and I wasn't able to do the checklist. So it's okay if it goes into day 13 because it's always one day at a time that happens to be adding up, right? So this checklist, which I will readily do because it's very much night. Have I been abstinent today? Yes, I have. But it was super difficult. This was a very difficult day for me. It wasn't just a desire to overeat, though my partner had a ton of treats. And we did go grocery shopping at 2 different grocery stores. People are starting to hoard and stuff because of the COVID, and I'm so sorry for that. But we went to 2 different grocery stores. I was intermittent fasting and seeing 70,000 and really 140,000 products on the shelf started to get to me. And then, as is often the case, I prepared their meal before mine. And I was getting kind of crazy. I already had my food planned, but none of it satisfied me. And it wasn't just like I don't even want to say because I don't want to trigger anybody. And this isn't a food video. So I'm not going to say, but let's just say the fruit that I chose was horrific. It wasn't what I thought. It was like a cousin to a fruit I was familiar with. And it had like a, not quite bitter, but I felt like I was putting baby powder in my mouth. It was a really weird numbing agent and texture. And I was so excited. I actually spent a little more to get this fruit. And so all of a sudden I couldn't eat that. I had a little, I ended up donating it to my pig. Well, after that, the celery tasted terrible. Donated it to the pig. No offense to the pig. She loves it all. But I was really distraught because that was my planned lunch at that time. So then I was like, no worries. I have a fabulous dinner planned. So I went for my fabulous dinner. And I have had a cold. I'm getting over my cold. It may be my taste buds, but it was totally off and not fabulous. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Well, that was lending itself to wanting to binge, right? Because he had all these treats available. And I was just like, well, I could, the whole thing. So then I was like, no. I had the grace to go into the kitchen and switch it out for yet another meal. And I was calculating my calories. I don't want to be obsessed about that. But excess calories does not allow one to lose weight. And I'm still in the losing weight mode, right? So I was trying to calculate, well, how much of that did I actually eat? So I certainly got some calories from the portion I consumed. And then what about this? And then finally, the new meal that I made, which was also greens and fruit and healthy fats, I'm quite sure it was in my window and I felt okay about it. I don't have in my Invisalign. I've had them out way more than the don't exceed 4 hour mark. And you know what? I'm just going to accept that because some days it's only 2 hours. Today it's 5, right? But that was all because of the food thing. And then finally the kitchen was closed. And I was like, fine, I have some delicious teas that I can absolutely enjoy. And I absolutely will. But it was a really kind of slippery slope day because I didn't expect none of my foods to satiate. And it was borderline. But praise God, one day at a time, I absolutely made it. So was I abstinent? Yes. Did I pray? Beyond belief. Am I maintaining and working towards a healthy goal? Yes, I am. Did I rely on my higher power? Much to his dismay, yes. Is what I'm currently doing working to continue abstinence? Yes, it is. Because again, I do all my things. The monkey mind. I'm doing my urge jar. I'm doing my calendar of stickers. I'm doing my journal. All the things. Yes, I am. If I'm having problems, have I asked someone what they're doing? Yes, I did. Have I made an OA call today? No. But I did in the sense that I went on the sites for OA and responded to people, and that way I did. But I think I am holding out on that a little bit. Did I have an attitude of gratitude? So much. Every single second I was praising God for the grace to not act on the nonsense. I planned my food. Yes, I did. Did I help someone else today? I'm certain that I did. Did I have an action plan? I did. And did I have a sponsor? No, I'm still not working with a sponsor, but it'll come in time. It will. It's like soon. I'm not there. Okay, so let's go to the writing exercise. This one is, what steps do I take to remain abstinent in all circumstances? What steps do I take to remain abstinent in all circumstances? And I'm not sure how familiar you are with the 12 steps. I will post them as part of the description of this video. But, you know, they're all encompassing and they're super important. And once you work your way through them, you always revisit them just to maintain abstinence forever. So the first 3 steps, which the condensed version is, I can't, God can, and I'm going to let him, I use all day long. Like, seriously, I surrender all the time. So there's actual formal ones, and again, I'm going to post them and you can read them. But the short version is, I can't, which is a form of surrendering, of course. God can, so recognizing a power greater than myself, and I'm going to let him is the 3rd step. So I use those all day. The 10th step, which is to take an inventory, to absolutely take an inventory of my day. I absolutely use that one. What could I have done better? Where am I at? Who do I owe an apology to? Can I make an amends? Doing an inventory of my side of the street. I do that throughout the day. If somebody's responding really weird to me or being super rude, I'll be thinking, okay, let me take an inventory really quickly. Did I do this? Is this my problem? Or is this their stuff being put on me? And I look at that all the time. So for sure, step 10. And then step 12, which is to bring the program to others in need. I certainly do that as I see fit to do that. So there's several that I use, but those definitely keep me abstinent. What tools do I regularly use? OA literature to the max. Whether it's, whether it's Just for Today, which is such a good one on just the daily thought book of OA, whether it is Food for Thought by the Hazelton Meditation, whether it is actually a little baby, the big book, a miniature big book. I use all of those as needed, and I have several others. And I've just kind of, because I just got clean, if you will, a couple years ago in terms of my food. So first, I started OA literally 31 years ago, more, at least, I don't even know, when I was like 21. And then I really got into it and got super clean in college at like 22. I continued with it 23. Several times over the last 30 years, I have revisited it, but I've been hanging on the outskirts. Like, I memorized the entire program. I'm that kind of person, but you have to have community, you know? So then when I even dared to start changing my lifestyle, I had weighed 330 pounds at the time that I started OA. Actually, no, when I started OA, I literally weighed, you know, compulsive overeaters always know exactly what they weigh. Let me think about that. I had weighed 189, and then all of a sudden I was at like 212. And I think that's about when I got in there. Well, 7 years later, I was weighing 230. And then for like the next 4 years, I was fluctuating between 289 and 303. And then finally, I got down to just around 200. I went back up, I got down to 200 again. I went back up, I got down to 200 again. And then sadly, and gracefully, I mean, a total blessing, really, I got back up to 281. And that was like about 3 years ago. And I was having trouble even reaching to wipe myself or clasp my bra. Like, I was like, are you flipping kidding me? You are 50 pounds away from when you stopped weighing yourself because your scale only went to 330, which didn't mean your hotness didn't seriously exceed that, okay? I was flipping out. And luckily, I remembered that I had access to things like Overeaters Anonymous, that I needed a different way. I was starting to just see health problems. I was so lucky. Are you kidding me? Already 51, 52 years old with very few health problems, and none of them obesity related per se, meaning I didn't have diabetes, blood pressure, none of those things. But because of medications I'd taken, mostly for things like severe periods and stuff like that, I had trashed my kidneys. I had a thyroid disease. I had migraines beyond measure for the standard American diet, right? All of the packaged horrificness. I was still on meat. I had like all that going down. And I just realized that I was back on my way to being buried in a piano, which was sort of the joke back when I was 330. And never funny, but that was the conversation. And so I started looking around, and I found Tanny Raw, whom I've mentioned so many times, social media phenom for health on every channel. You can look her up. I found some other people, like the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show on YouTube, Christina, Fully Raw Christina, a couple of different guys, Jack Albatron, which is Albritton, a bunch of them, anyway, a bunch. But I stuck with Tanny Raw because she just was phenomenal for me. And I started changing my life. My husband got a conversation on January 1st. So literally, on this January 1st, it'll be 3 years since I dared to make a phone call and say, hey, what is your story, lady? And teach me how to do it. Okay. So anyway, in that time, it took me 6 months to still even get on plan, and then at least a year before I even started Jules Blessed Vegan. So I'm literally just down 90 pounds and happy to be back incorporating my 12 steps along with vegan and raw vegan, because it's just additional tools that I need. So I'm just finishing the Tanny Raw Reset, that 28-day program that I always talk about, which will happen again like January 8th. If you dare to pull your $300 together, it'll be the best 30 days of your month. Even if you're not raw, just the tools for spiritual, physical, mental, emotional well-being. Just getting it in your head for 31-hour talks, and they exceed that. It's easily 35 or 36 hours of live. Along with a community of like-minded people. It'll just get ingrained in you if you're just trying to find some change in your life. That's what I did. And you can certainly just watch Tanny Raw on YouTube, for which she has 3,500 videos, on Instagram, for which she has 9,000 posts. And you can just absolutely saturate yourself binge watching those videos, let alone the live experience. But that's kind of how I got started. Today, these two and a half years later, my kidneys are healed. I have no thyroid disease. I'm off all prescription medications. I have no migraines anymore. I don't have any, my numbers for my A1C, my blood pressure, etc. are ridiculous. Everything is so healthy. It's just incredible. And I rejoice to no end. But I know I need to just go forward with that. And because I so completely started absolutely falling back into my patterns in the last couple of months. Red flags were popping up everywhere on saying, if you don't catch yourself now, you will be that person again. And I was so grateful to be able to just be honest with you guys and just do a reality check on that. Because I'm very much on my way, at least for today, which is all we have. And at least these 12 days of abstinence, right? Then I am back in my program. So I'm so happy to be sharing this with you. Again, I will post the actual 12 steps. You can read all about them. I will post this power abstinence article again. And I'm happy to reflect on this with you because it's just keeping me well. All right, my friends, as always, like if you like. Join us if you haven't. Subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you. And until we talk again, best of all, know that you're blessed.